Chancellor Rachel Reeves plans to raise inheritance tax as part of an effort to generate up to £35 billion in extra taxes in next month's budget. This month's budget.
£35 billion. Oh, that's a huge tax rate, isn't it? To help balance the books, she says she also intends to increase stamp duty while proposing approximately £3 billion in welfare cuts over the next 4 years as well. That's not to mention other policies, such as VAT on private school fees, which Labour also intends to implement. So I guess the question is really, is Rachel Reeves and the Labour Party effectively declaring a war on families? Something they've already, declared a war on pensioners. Is it families next?
Although they would, of course, dispute that characterisation, saying that, of course, they've committed to the triple lock raising pensions this year.
They would say that, yes.
Joining us to discuss this is the head of research at the Taxpayers Alliance, Darwin Friend. Darwin, we're just hearing a lot of briefing about taxes. I suppose the optimist within me is surely they can't raise them all.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the show, Tom and Emily. And the thing is, I would like to believe you as well, Tom, on that one. But what we're hearing this week is a raft of tax rises that are potentially coming down the line to fill this so-called £40 billion black hole the Treasury reportedly has in its budget. And it's reported that 90% of that black hole is going to be filled with tax rises, from employers' national insurance to capital gains tax to inheritance tax and even stamp duty, potentially all having to rise. And I think the ultimate message at the end of this is it's going to be taxpayers that are facing the burden of this at the end of the day.
Yeah, people are very worried about the potential for a huge hike in inheritance tax or changes that might put more of a burden on families when they lose a loved one. Certainly. Also we're hearing quite a lot about this, various think tanks close to the Labour Party pushing for more taxes on petrol and diesel car owners. Now, families use petrol and diesel cars, people who are self-employed, practically everyone outside of main city centres uses their car on a near daily basis. Do you think the motorist is going to be clobbered at this budget?
I definitely think that's a possible option for them. And concerningly, we had during COVID and afterwards a 5p cut in fuel duty. And I'm quite worried that that may be at risk at the upcoming budget. And I think what needs to be remembered is that the Labour Party in their manifesto explicitly said they weren't going to increase taxes on working people. Well, you mentioned there, Emily, self-employed people, businesses, working people all need fuel to get to work or to do their actual jobs. And I think the Chancellor actually needs to come out and rule out that they're going to remove that cut in fuel duty, so that then businesses and individuals can have some surety that they're not going to be paying more for fuel at the end of March next year.
Of course, that ratchet has been in place for many, many years. We've expected each budget, all of the sort of calculations are based upon fuel duty rising, only for every single Chancellor for the last 14 years to then say, we've actually cancelled this rise. It's been a rabbit out of the hat at every budget. Darwin, is it your contention then that this could be the first time in 14 years that there is no such rabbit?
Well, I think the rabbit that they could pull out, Tom, is that, yes, you're right, fuel duty has been frozen since 2011, since George Osborne was Chancellor. And what they introduced during the COVID pandemic, and which they extended every year afterwards, was this 5p cut in fuel duty. And what I'm worried is that they may get away in saying we're freezing fuel duty's normal rate, but what we're going to do is we're going to remove that 5p cut and bring it back to its pre-COVID level. And what that's going to do is increase costs for fuel for motorists up and down this country.
Ah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much indeed, Darwin Friend, for your time this afternoon. You're the head of research at the Taxpayers Alliance, which fights for lower taxes across the board, really.
Yeah, certainly.